Greetings, how is everybody? As we get started today, I'm going to ask you to reflect on the leaders in your experience. Maybe they were teachers, maybe a band director, coach, a supervisor, a manager. Think back in your own history. Have you had similar memories pop up when you're reading a book and a certain situation crosses your mind? And the words on the page give meaning to the situation. I had that happen as I started to think about servant leaders in situations that are misinterpreted. Have you ever been in a situation when the challenges were real issues that could not be addressed immediately? Did you happen to have a leader who didn't understand the reality that faced the team? Pretty early in my technical experience, a new manager took over our account. This was a big account. We had big teams of experts. Within a matter of days, a number of directives were given to the supervisors. The former manager had never come directly to the team. He had always come through the supervisors, so that was not unfamiliar to us. The new manager's expectation was immediate change. I still remember the sense of surprise that I felt. Who does this woman think she is? Evidently, she believes we are all morons. And I was insulted. And as young as I was really insulted. As I listened to the edict, I started to boil. Unlike most of my teammates, I was not afraid of this woman, who happened to spend one weekend every month in the Marine Reserves. Yes, she was a United States Marine, and she was an officer. You might not be aware that the Marines tend to raise their voices and expect immediate obedience. In the business world, that approach is met with laughter and rebellion. So here's a quick rundown of the situation. This manager was new to our team of experienced experts. And I mean experienced. These people could do anything with a computer. She was attempting to establish credibility and authority, neither of which fit into servant leadership. No questions were asked about the life of the account, the current challenges, the reasons that the entire computer system was being rewritten over the next 18 months to the tune of millions of dollars for our customer. So, let me ask you a question. What should have happened? Seriously, what should have happened in this scenario? So, the manager issues the edicts. The supervisors, long before it ever got to us, the supervisors should have stopped the first conversation and asked her if she understood the statistic that she had highlighted for instant change. Now, your mind might be grinding and going crazy right now. You can relate to this. A statistic that's picked up, this is what we're going to fix, is a red light to everybody in the organization. Many questions should have been asked and answered in that very first exchange with the supervisors to provide background and start a foundation of trust. Okay, so what actually happened? The entire team scattered for the shadows. And I'm not kidding. Because most people believed everyone would be fired if the edicts were not met. Which honestly didn't even make sense. You can't kill off your team of experts and rewrite a system at the same time. It won't work. So one evening I decided, okay, I put my suit jacket on because I figured I might as well look as corporate as we were, and headed for this new manager's office. All the way down the hall, I was wondering if I'd have a job for an hour. In an hour. An hour from now, would I be in my car wondering how I was going to pay the bills? So I knocked on her door. She was gathering her stuff to go home, and she stopped to greet me. We didn't know each other that well, She knew I was one of the experienced SEs. She knew I'd come down from the account. I remember her asking her if she had decided that there would be no more abnormal ends, which means a program dies in the middle instead of finishing in the nightly processing cycle. She said yes, and informed me that that stat was unacceptable. I said, why? She said, well, because other accounts have 0 ab ends. It was everything I could do to not laugh. You're measuring us by other accounts, was my first thought. I said, okay, wait. So I took her to school about the account she was on and why she should be asking questions. I explained to her the technical reasons with specific examples and asked her if she understood that the system rewrite was not a cosmetic update. We're not going to put lipstick on a pig. We are going to rewrite the system, and the customer's paying for it. You know what her question was? Why didn't the supervisors tell me? Why didn't the supervisors tell me? I asked her if she asked them for the reasons, or if she'd even given them time to describe the situation. Every answer was no. Now, all of this is changing my opinion of this manager, and not for the better. Why aren't you asking questions? Now, as a leader, please ask questions. If you're the new kid on the block, if you have new team members, we don't know each other. The only way to find out if somebody's capable of something is ask a question. It's okay to ask a question. So in case you're wondering, I did keep my job, and we did become good friends. She learned to trust me because I wasn't afraid of her. So whatever situation you currently are in, you're talking about servant leadership, don't be afraid of the people above you. If they turn around and fire you instantly, you can tell everybody you know, everybody who stays behind, it's very odd to take a hold of a team that's revenue generating account. I'm telling you, we were stunned. So why do I tell you this story? Few people observe from a distance and accurately assess the situation. You can't do it from afar. It won't work. The leader who jumps in with answers will discover that the real situation is far different than they're assuming. Our new manager chose to get a fast result that in theory would impress everyone. Without the background, guess what happened? The team never trusted her. She was reassigned in about 6 months. Didn't work. As leaders, our questions ensure everyone gives input. Everybody. Everybody should have the opportunity to say, wait, that's not what happened. That's not where we are. That's not what's happening. That's not what we need. Whenever we want to know something about the team, our ability to frame an effective question will build trust. Now, we can't do anything in leadership without trust. I've had managers that I would follow to the gates in hell and back. And I've had ones that I would let them go by themselves and hope they didn't come back because of the way they treated us. So in this story, our new manager made assumptions about the people who'd been on this account for the past 5 years. Evidently, she had listened to the lore about the team within the corporation. We weren't subtle. We weren't quiet. We were a team of rebels. But we were really good at what we did, and we deserve the credit for doing it. So instead of setting aside the stories and asking tons of questions, she did choose a shortcut that proved to be disastrous for her career, not for us. Now, let's go back to what I asked you to do. Are you looking back? Are you thinking about leaders? Have you ever had something like that happen? And some of you are saying, yesterday, and it makes your hackles go up. It makes you look for a heavy object to straighten them out with. And all of that sounds rather violent, but the point is, somebody comes into something and doesn't ask you a question, it's offensive. Maybe you had a leader who assumed something about you based on someone's opinion. As leaders, we cannot do that because people have a tendency to jockey for position. We have to get to know people directly. If you have like multiple layers under you, seriously consider who you know and who you don't know, and who's got the accurate opinion. Questions convey interest in the situation and allow leaders to get closer to any problems that must be resolved. At times, the leader will listen without saying much at all. The occasional question from the leader will sustain the exchange long enough to find real solutions. Those questions may slow things down initially, but you'll save a lot of hurt feelings. And as much as we want to believe we're all adults, hurt feelings kill teams. And hurt feelings kill businesses. So without questions, assumptions will become a narrative that takes over the real conversation. All these years later, I still remember how we all felt when this new manager didn't even ask one question about us or the situation. So instead of issuing mandates based on observation, leaders like us will ask simple questions to get the real conversation started and be open for answers we don't want. As more information comes to light, the leader listens more and talks less. Servant leaders pause before taking a stance to gain control over a situation. If you're trying to gain control, something's wrong. Unless somebody's dying, you don't need control over a situation. Ask more questions to discover the invisible truths that are creating challenges for the people who do the work each day. That's our role. As servant leaders, we come in to move obstacles, but you have to move the right obstacle. And you can't be an obstacle. Thank you for listening today. Thank you for the time. Thank you for thinking back. Remember, ask more questions. Have a great day. All the best. We'll see you soon.